Jai Gurudev. Welcome to the fourth day of Navaratri, Kushmanda Devi. So, like every evening, we do one verse of the Divya Prabandham. So I have chosen from Tirumalisai Alvar, Pashuram 767. You are the souls of the gods, plants, people who do good and bad karma, and animals. Even though people do not know who you are, they hear of you from the Vedas and the scriptures of the sages, and they know you in their hearts. Your greatness is like that of high mountains. When we look at the last part, it's written, they hear of you from the Vedas and the scriptures of the sages. If that sentence would stand by itself without what is following, because after that it is said, and they know you in their hearts. This sentence, and they know you in their hearts, reminded me of Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, verse 55, where Krishna says, by devotion alone he gains the true knowledge of who and what I am. Knowing me in this way, through this devotion, he unites with me. So he is specifically saying, only by devotion, he uses the word alone, he can gain true knowledge. And then at the very end of the Pashuram of Tirumalisai, it says, your greatness is like that of high mountains. So when somebody says, your greatness is like that of high mountains, there is a certain quality in place. And the quality is gratitude. I don't know who was here the last 3 days. Okay, many, yeah. So one of the things, also for me, was for the first time that Guruji was not here. It was weird. So I have the blessing to serve here Ma for, I think, 4 or 5 years now as a pujari. And normally we are used that Guruji is here. And we started to discuss, like, what is the difference? What is it even different or not? And I can say everybody said somehow Ma is less, sorry to say, alive than usually when what we are used. And one of the things personally I can say, when we have somebody like Guruji, when we have somebody who doesn't have just faith, who doesn't believe in something, or like here Tirumalisai is saying, reads, because he says, people do not know you who you are. But for Guruji, it's different. He knows who God is. And he doesn't have just faith. When he enters the tent, when he enters the temple, he actually sees Ma. She's standing there and he is interacting with her. And I have seen that throughout the years. When Guruji is standing here, sometimes it's not so much visible, it's when we are all dancing. And Guruji has this specific look where you just see, he doesn't see just a deity, like a stone statue. She is there and interacting with him. And Kushmanda Devi, like Guruji was tweeting, he said, Devi takes her form as the mother of the universe, the one who holds everyone in her womb, in her heart, who nurtures and protects her children with every fiber of her being. So we have seen so many beautiful qualities, so much knowledge was shared throughout the last days. Who was in the Tadatmya lectures the last days? Only so few. Really? I think there was more. Okay. Some of you. It was full. Okay. I don't know where the people are. So one of the things I have seen, our brains have been fried. Yeah? Can you agree with that? A lot of knowledge, a lot of information. And when we look at the world, one of the things that we can observe is that somehow humanity is more and more full of information, full of knowledge, full of sense perceptions and so on. And then some come to Bhakti Marga, to Guruji, they're young, they're still much more receptive. The older we become, the more full we also come. So suddenly we come here, we have the academy, we have the Bhagavad Gita, we have one satsang after the other, and suddenly our ego, our mind goes like, oh wow, again, just more information to be added. I don't know, did you have ever this kind of feeling? Yes? Oh wow, okay. So, and why I'm mentioning this? Because Guruji tweeted something very, very profound this January. And he was saying, there's two types of how we can actually receive knowledge, experiences, wealth, and so on. And the one thing, what we do and we are used to since childhood is accumulation. One information after the other, just accumulation. But Guruji was saying, on the other side, how we should actually listen to the satsangs and approach scriptures is through cultivation. So that's the difference. And cultivation on the other side gives, maybe it gives you a bit of relief what I will say now. Cultivation doesn't mean we need to go to all the scriptures and suddenly be just stressed out and say, oh my God, I need to know all this. I need to know all the verses. I need to know all the Sanskrit. Because in cultivation, there is something much more profound. In cultivation are two qualities which we need to use when we approach knowledge. So the first quality is humility, humbleness. So to showcase it, because we hear so often humbleness, yeah, what does it mean? I wanted to make it a bit interactive, yeah? So Guruji was tweeting humbleness. He was saying, actually, you should be chill. Okay, that's my word. You should be chill that you always be more ignorant than you actually will know. Does it give you a relief? Yeah? And I will tell you now, as we'll tell certain facts, why is it like this. For example, books. 2.2 million new books are published every year. Reading one book a day, you would need to have 465,000 years to finish just one library in the USA. There are 7,000 languages spoken today. Each holds its own history, poetry, and wisdom. Science. 2.5 million research papers are published each year. Technology. 328 million terabytes of data are created daily. 8.5 billion Google searches every day. The cosmos has 100 to 400 billion stars. There are about 2 trillion galaxies, and less than 1% of it's mapped. And 80% of the ocean remains unexplored. 8.7 million species are estimated, but 86% are still unknown. So that's somehow the proof that we always will be more ignorant than in knowledge, which is a nice thing, yeah? Because sometimes we have this feeling, I hope somebody doesn't see that I don't know something. I think it's somehow normal to say, I don't know. It doesn't mean like we stop studying, but we don't have this feeling like we need to know everything. Because actually the real knowledge is through cultivation. So humbleness, that was the first quality, to cultivate knowledge. The second quality is gratitude. So when we look at Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 verse 3, Krishna says, I'm the taste of water, I am the radiance of the sun, and so on. Let's just focus on I'm the taste of water. Did you drink water today? Yeah? Did you think of Krishna? No? Okay, so here is something what Krishna is saying. I am the taste of water. It's some information. We read it 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, 40 times. But in cultivation, it means we actually take that verse, we sit down, we meditate upon that, and we put it into practice. Which means, and that's the alchemy which Guruji is referring in that tweet. So the first is having. You have knowledge, yeah? Somehow you read it many times in the Gita that Krishna says, I'm the taste of water. The second step is doing. Which means every time when you drink water, you think of Krishna. Oh wow, that's a nice water. That's Krishna. And the third is actually being. And this is where the knowledge, which was just an accumulation, becomes a cultivation. So you drink water, first day, second day, third day, and suddenly every time when you drink water, you think of Krishna. And then suddenly what happens? It becomes part of your nature. And this is where the knowing, because in accumulation of knowledge, it's just a part of your ego identity. That's why people are very much defending of like, no, I know it, and so on, because it's part of the ego. But in cultivation, it's not part of the ego. It becomes part of your nature. And now, because why I said we do it a bit interactive, the first thing what happened in the next thing what happened in cultivation is we go in a certain experience. So I would like to ask you something, because I heard it many times. Even last days I heard it many times. I cannot control my mind. Yeah? But we say it because we expect from us, I need to control my mind 24 hours. And the moment I don't think of God, I don't do japa, I just, I'm disappointed of myself and so on. But actually, it's a step by step. So one thing I would like to ask you. You see Devi here beautifully, Kushmanda. Yeah? Look at Kushmanda Devi for 30 seconds and forget any other thoughts. Just look at her and try to observe your mind. And now, close your eyes and visualize the form of Devi and forget any other thought. Keep this image in your mind. And now offer your prayers to Devi and say, Devi, thank you that I can be here. Thank you for your blessings. You can open your eyes. Congratulations, you controlled your mind for a few seconds. So, this is actually what it means. You give your mind, you show your mind who is the boss. So what we do, we take that knowledge, we put it into practice, we give the image of Devi, of Sri Hari in our mind, and we just do it for a certain amount of time. And then again, we extend, then we extend, then we extend. And like this knowledge becomes a doing, and in that doing, suddenly, Vijnana, the realization one day will occur. And now why I said we should be grateful to David that we can be here. Today I was passing through the kitchen. And one of the things, because we have here food, breakfast, lunch, dinner, you know, the people in the kitchen here, I find it really inspiring. Because we can all sit here. But the people in the kitchen, all the events, I know there are many for many years. Each event, they're always in the kitchen. They don't have the ability to come here to celebrate with us. And I think that's something we can be really, really grateful. And just by knowing that, the knowledge becomes gratefulness. So when we approach food, the lunch, the dinner, our gratefulness for that food is much, much higher. And this is the thing. It's not about accumulating knowledge. Okay, Devi has these weapons. She did this lila, she did that, this verse, and so on. We always need to have this gratefulness when we're listening to the satsang. Without that, nothing will happen. And Guruji was saying something really, really, like it blew my mind. He was saying, if you approach knowledge without humbleness, without gratitude, it actually becomes a bondage which is higher than ignorance itself. Crazy, no? So we invest 5 years just accumulating knowledge, spiritual knowledge, without gratitude, without humbleness, and we become even more bound than we have been before. Because it's just a part of the spiritual ego. And so, why I said at the beginning, when Guruji was not here, you know, when I look back the time with Guruji throughout the last years, one of the things I can see is that things which we took for granted suddenly are not here anymore. And this happens from one day to the other. Right now, Navaratri, first time, bam, he was not here. I see it in a positive way because now we actually can appreciate him coming and celebrating with us. Another thing, Guruji giving online darshan for so many years. One day, no online darshans. Temple satsangs, we always took it for granted. Yeah, he comes down to the temple and he will give satsang. Finished. And so, and one which is really much connected to Navaratri is, on the 6th day, Katyayani Devi was my personal favorite evening. Because Guruji granted us something really profound. Because, okay, we see the deity, it's beautiful, but when we see a saintly being, when we see somebody, a Satguru like Guruji, showing you a darshan of Devi in such a way, I saw Devi in such a way which I have never seen. And then 2 years back, suddenly he said, no more darshan anymore. No Katyayani Devi darshan anymore. And 2 years back, which was very profound for me, the curtain closed, and Guruji was in his bath. And suddenly what happened, I will not tell the whole story, I can't. But Guruji was in a transcendent state that he actually fainted and he fell on that floor. And to see your Guru for the first time lying on the floor, in something which you just read in books, in my mind was just like, this should not be. This can't be. And in my mind was like, is this the end? He left his body? So everybody was just surrounding him, just chanting the mantras and hoping he will come back. Because you never know. And then Guruji stood up, he told the story, he was in Devi Loka and so on. And it reminded me of one dream I had some years back, to wrap it up. And in that dream, I received a message of Swami Neruda. And he was saying, he's gone. And the pain which I felt in that dream was such a pain which I don't want to feel. Honestly, I was just happy I woke up immediately. To just feel for a short moment that Guruji left us. It's something which probably many of us, I hope in the long, long future it will only happen. But just this shows us that we should have always the gratitude of Guruji's presence. Always. And to wrap it up, I said it already, sorry. So Guruji was saying to actually that the alchemy happens, that this transformation happens, that the knowledge appears from inside, not from outside, happens only in two ways. In Sangha, and second, in Satsang. So in the Sangha, this is the place where this gratefulness, this humbleness of receiving the knowledge, of the experiences, of everything what we receive from the divine can actually be transformed. And he was saying, you cannot get this knowledge from AI. You cannot get this knowledge from books. It happens only in Sangha, only in Satsang. So if you want that actually, that this knowledge becomes part of you, don't reject the Sangha. Don't feel like, okay, I'm living by myself. Because the Bhakti path, like how many people are here? Hundreds of people. The Bhakti path, we are not yogis in the Himalaya. The Bhakti path is all about being together as a family and celebrating the most beautiful which exists, which is the Sadguru, Devi and Sri Hari. Jai Gurudev.